Hello and welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans congregate and fanboys fear to tread. I slipped up on that a little bit. I'm
Yeah, you
feeling,
still got there eventually, kid.
yeah,
You still
like,
got
oh,
there. It's 2 weeks
slept
out
when
to
I,
Christmas. How are we doing?
I'm still, well, I'm not supposed to ride my bike at all.
Oh,
Doctor's
but you are,
orders.
but you are, of course.
No, my sister's all over me. Christ, she's like a hawk.
Oh well.
Because
Okay.
I got a stent in me and they're afraid of it's going to come out.
All right. Well, just be a good boy, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been buying parts, because I couldn't get some of the parts. Like I get spare parts in bikes. So if I crash, because you can't go out like you used to, and buy every part you could find. They're just not there. Like
yeah.
people aren't carrying them.
Yeah, if you notice that, alright, you go into a bike store, it's and you're like, oh, can I get a clutch lever or whatever? And it's like, yeah, that's a 2 week waiting list.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, I get you. So anyway, um, so after Christmas, I think we'll start bringing on a couple of guests again. So if you are interested, just let me know. Send me an email to motogpmac@gmail.com. And I will get back to you. And
Hey, we should try to get which is Steve Parrish back one.
we might try and do that a little bit closer to TT sort of thing. We'll get him back on. So you probably saw in the news during the week, and I took some time, and I think I was saying it to someone. I think maybe CB is like, I didn't really know whether to do a story with it or not. It was about Alex Marquez being vetoed by Yamaha. So apparently, Alex said that he had signed a contract, or he had a contract with Razlan in the Sepang racing team at the time, who was
Uh-huh.
running the Pedronas Yamaha MotoGP team, and that the deal was that he was going to do another year in Moto 2.
Uh-huh.
Now, that would have been his 6th year in Moto 2, which is a long time in Moto 2. And then he would have done 2 years on the Yamaha M1 in Razlan's Petronas Yamaha racing team. So that would have put him in for 21 and 22, actually, that he would have been racing in Yamaha. And apparently, when Razlan signed the deal with them and everything, but when Razlan went to Yamaha and said, I want to put Alex Marquez on the Yamaha in 2021 and 2022, Yamaha turned around and said, absolutely no way. That's not going to happen. And Razlan was like, why? And Yamaha were like, well, it's because of Mark and because of what happened in 2015 that no Marquez will ever ride a Yamaha. Now,
I can see it, by the way.
I can see it. I can see it in a context that Rossi was still in the team, and they're not going to put a Marquez brother in a team and then have the other fucking brother coming in and going, "Hey, how's it going?" and your man in the corner. Do you know what I mean? That's just not going to fucking happen.
Right.
That's fair enough, right? I
And I
get
don't
it.
know when anybody says you have a good eye for riding, for styles.
Mhm.
The debate has always been did Marquez stop from passing Lorenzo and would have given Rossi the title? I think so. Mark Marquez all of a sudden didn't look like he couldn't ride a bike. There was many times where he had all the room in the world, all the momentum to pass, and he hit the brakes and backed up. So
Yeah,
which
yeah.
really surprised me because there's different teams. You know what I'm
I
saying?
think I actually think the Rossi Marquez issue probably actually happened privately before. I think there was a fallout before that spilled onto the track,
Yeah.
and then made Marquez say, "Fuck you, you're not going to win." It wasn't Rossi's comments in Malaysia that all of a sudden tweaked the war. I think prior to Australia there was something up there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Look, for me, I guess we'll never know. I can understand Yamaha turning around and saying, no, not for 2021. Definitely would a Marquez be in the garage next to Valentino Rossi. The other side of the coin is that I think Razlan probably, and I don't trust Razlan as far as I could throw him, and I'd be very, very honest with that. He's all great coming out with things after the event. Do you know what I mean? He's been fucked out of MotoGP just now, and now he comes out with a bombshell story to make himself current or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So, and look, this is not the first time he has done this. Remember when he changed to Aprilia, and Rossi was gone, or no, sorry, he was still with Yamaha or whatever, and Rossi was gone, and then he turned around and he was like, I never really wanted to sign Rossi anyway. Because he wouldn't sign the fucking signature for me at my home race in Malaysia. I thought, fuck you. Do you know what I mean? You're not gonna... So look, there's a lot of fucking bullshit going on there. I do think, Yamaha stopped it. And I think maybe it's not just because it was a Marquez. Do you know what I mean? Yamaha clearly probably had other plans as well.
And I don't think that the Honda holding up the bike from Rossi, I don't think that half-ass fueled the fire on top of it.
How do you mean?
About that?
How do you mean?
But Honda, he won his first title as a two-stroke, right?
Yeah.
And then he was supposed to get the bike afterwards, and he never did.
No, he never got the 500. No.
Yeah, no. And I think that was still bad blood going over. That held
over.
But
there's still bad blood in Honda about that. But that's more of a thing that you said you wouldn't, you didn't. Do you know what I mean? And they're like, well, we didn't say when we would give it to you. Do you know what I mean? But no, look, I do find it very interesting that I suppose this stuff comes out after the fact of all of this, and it's a storm in a teacup. I don't think it's Yamaha turning around and saying never will ever a Marquez ride a Yamaha. I just think at that certain time they were like, no way, we're not putting Marquez in with Rossi. That's just not going to happen. And you can't really blame him. Look, at the end of the day, the two boys are thick as thieves.
Yeah.
They're always around each other. I'm sure it would piss Rossi off, who would definitely, and Yamaha were trying to negotiate with Rossi to step back down to the satellite team. Do you know what I mean? So they weren't really going to upset him too much, if you know what I mean, on what happened. So yeah, I think there's a bit of truth with that. They were like, I don't believe the line that he said, that Razlan said, that no Marquez will ever ride Yamaha. Do you know what I mean? I think it was no Marquez will ride Yamaha right now. And we've seen it so much in MotoGP that water runs under the bridge very, very quickly. Sometimes it doesn't, but on the fact, you look at like most recently, how Paulo Sfagro left KTM to go to Honda, and then he went back to KTM again. Do you know what I mean? And look, we've seen it. Do you know what I mean? The riders fall out of favor with the fucking team management. He wins 3 races, and then he's fucking the bike. It's time is very, very short, I suppose, in MotoGP, and people have a very short memory. So
yes.
The longest
I suppose I can think of is Mortabelli. Christ, he's got more breaks than a dog got fleas.
But look, even if you look at Morbidelli and even Rossi in the end of his career, Yamaha were very loyal to him, even though he wasn't performing. They gave him up-teen opportunities. So it makes complete sense.
They didn't know him. They don't know him squat. Ducati doesn't know Mortabelli squat. I don't know how they get that right.
Apparently, Prima is the main sponsor of whatchamacallit, of Pramac. And they wanted an Italian rider on that bike. So, and when you're looking around, Bezzecchi was offered to Bezzecchi. Bezzecchi didn't want it, which I still think is the smartest move from Bezzecchi. And a lot of people are questioning, why would Rossi keep Bezzecchi and not let him go to a sub-factory team? I won't call it a factory team. I won't call it a satellite team. I'm going to call it a sub-factory team because that's what it actually is. And why would he let his brother go to Repsol Honda? And it's like, and I thought it was a really good question, actually. And then when I thought about it, I was like, Well, Marini's been in MotoGP for a good couple of years now, right? He knows and he understands how to set up a bike, how to get his bike right. Is he the fastest guy out there? He's not. And I think he knows this. Do you know what I mean? That he's not. But when you look at Bez is still so green into the whole lot of MotoGP. You know, this was just his second season. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And when you look at it, you know, going to a factory team or a sub-factory team on a brand new bike, you need a good bit of experience as well and to set that bike up. Do you know what I mean? And find your niche within that bike. And I just don't think, and this is nothing to say anything bad about Bezzecchi, but I don't think he has the experience to do that yet. And I think that's the reason Rossi stopped him going there. It was like, it's too early. Do you know what I mean? Now, saying that, when you look at it, like you have Pecco, you have Martin, who may or may not find the niche with this new bike.
I never heard if he was any good or any bad at setup. Like, I never heard. Why?
Look, they've certainly found something this year himself and his chief mechanic. So
yeah,
look, you would bet on them finding.
Did they change his chief mechanic this year?
No, I don't think so. But he's. Look, I think he had the same thing that happened to Digi Antonio. They found a sweet spot in the bike where they didn't need to change the settings, and away off they went.
Right.
And you know, so that's why I think Joe Rossi was giving Marini his blessing to go to Repsol Honda, and then if you look at it, I suppose your man's gone to think. Rossi wanted to probably bring in someone anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like Luca is fine. Luca is really good. Don't get me wrong. He's not a bad rider, but he's not your next superstar. Do you know what I mean?
No, he's not.
He's kind of that person that's thereabouts, but he's just missing that final thing. And then, you know, as luck would have it, Digi Antonio all of a sudden found out how to get on with a GP22.
You know what? I'm going to make a prediction here. You can write it down. I don't think DJ is going to do squat next year. I think it was just like not Brad Bender, the
flash in the pan.
Flash in the pan. He's going to go. I got a big set of balls, and I'm going to push it real hard. So to try to get a job. And
so there's going to be a couple of new challenges for Digi this year, right? One is that he's the race mechanic that helped him find that sweet spot in the Ducati is not going to be with him, right? And so he's going to have to build that relationship with his engineer. That's going to take a couple of races, so just to get the basic communication going. So that's kind of one of the things. I think he's going to be up against a very fast teammate who is favored within the team. So I think all in all, I think he's going to have a challenging year next year. Do I think he has the talent? I do 100% believe that he has the talent. Is he an alien? He's not, but he's a faster nearlyman than Marini in my view. And I think, he has the youth on his side as well to develop. Do you know what I mean? So, so I think it'll be a good year for him. Actually, I don't think it'll be too rough. But again, he's now going to be held to a higher standard. Like when you looked at himself and Alex Marquez. Alex Marquez was the diamond in the goat's ass. He was the one that was supposed to shine, and I think towards the end of the season, Digi outshone Alex. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like from practice sessions, towards the end, like maybe last 6 races out.
Those hot laps.
Yeah, but Digi was he was more consistent than Alex. Do you know what I mean? Alex did well, don't get me wrong, Alex did well, but I think Digi was just a bit more consistent. And kind of took the shine off Alex a small bit. Now, how he'll go next year. Yeah, I think he'll struggle at the start, and that's more so getting used to the team and to the engineer and to the bike. Now, just talking about their bikes, I think during the tests, some of them had a GP23 and some of them had GP22, or maybe they all had 123 and 122. I was looking at Marquez's fast laps. It looked like that he was on a 22 when he set those fast laps. And what I'm taking off of that is by the first, the aero, the front wheel aero. Mm-hmm. If you look at the front wheel aero on the 22 to the 23 is very different. So the 23 has like a little biplane wing.
Yeah.
And the 22 has kind of like the lower end of it. So it's quite interesting. It looked like Mark actually set his best time on the 22, not the 23. And then I was kind of thinking of it like, did they give him much time on Mark, much time on the 23? I maybe think they didn't.
I think they were throwing a bunch of parts at him and see which direction to go with him.
Yeah, but the 22
time, you know?
Huh? Yeah.
I don't think really about times. It was like, let's get a baseline which direction.
But that's my point. Is like they should have gone. In my view, they should have been going for a baseline on the 23, not the 22.
I thought they were being extra cautious and saying we'll try both and pick from there.
Yeah.
But variety is the spice of life.
You know what they wrote, and there was in the comment during the week that the bike that they're going to get this year, what the final version in Valencia is going to be the final version that they're going to get. They're not going to get any upgrades. That's not necessarily correct. So they'll start the race with the final version that they got in Valencia. So they will all have 2 GP23s each. But also, now there is a lot of talk whether they will have the launch device or not. I don't see why they won't. If they were on the GP23s at the end of it, they'd probably have it.
As long as it's the launch device, as long as they've got the technology down to make it reliable, why not?
I think they'll give it to them. But my point here is, let's just say that, just say for instance, if we go back to Bastianini was on the GP21,
mm-hmm.
and Pecco was on the GP22, and they started battling for when Bastianini was involved in it. They started to upgrade Bastianini's bike. Remember, they gave him the new swing arm, they gave him the new Stegosaurus wings, the new updated aero, and I still believe that will be the case. That if Bezzecchi, if DG, if Mark, if Alex are fighting for the championship, they will upgrade their bikes to give them similar equipment. We saw it this year with Jorge Martin. Very easy, and like I know there was a lot of people turning around and saying Ducati were giving Jorge Martin Duff tires and all of this bullshit, right?
Yeah.
If they didn't want Pecco, or if they didn't really want Martin to give Pecco a hard time, they would have just simply taken any advantage that Pecco could have had. So they would have given him, they would have made Martin stay on the old aero. They would have made Martin not have this. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And they didn't. Do you know what I mean? So it genuinely bugs me when people turn around and say, Ducati are favoring one from the other. They both had the same equipment put into it, and it was just like, they probably would have seconded Martin to the factory team if he won it, right? They probably would. They could have. Do you know what I mean? Whether Martin would have wanted to go or not, I don't know. Would have cost them a couple of bob for Bastianini, 100%. But they turn around to Bastianini and say, "Listen, you're going there. We'll give you X amount of money. If you don't like it, you can fuck off." Do you know what I mean? There is hundreds of riders that will be happy to take a spot in Pramac Ducati. So, they're in a very, very privileged position. But I suppose again, going back to it, it's just the fact that I think So the kind of statement is that the the bike that they will start the season on is the exact same bike that they'll finish on. That's not necessarily correct. I think if one of them is fighting for the championship and there are upgrades, they will definitely 100% get them. Because remember, you can fit a 21 swing arm into a 22. You can fit a 23 swing arm or 22 swing arm or 23 swing arm into a 22. There's not drastic changes within the Ducati, so therefore the parts are somewhat interchangeable. The only thing that you can't change is the engine and the ECU. Do you know what I mean?
When people say, "Oh, they're giving Ducati rules," I say, "Are you blind? They get the penalties. They get the shaft every time you turn around. You know, they're the one that have restrictions that engine freezes and everything else. You know."
Yeah. So look, it's very, 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 very weird why people would think. No, listen, look, I am sure that, how would I say this? I am sure that the crew chiefs of both, before a race, would wait till the very last second or until they had to release their settings or the pressures or all of this. That is 100% standard across every form of motorsport.
Right.
Like I remember even down to go-kart racing when I was doing it. Do you know what I mean? My mechanic and say another fella's mechanic would have been best friends, and it was only on the grid would they tell each other what pressures or what sprockets or whatever where we wanted. Do you know what I mean? And it was only then. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't 5 minutes before. It wasn't giving one person the advantage over another one, right? Because their engineer or my mechanic wanted me to win. Do you know what I mean? And again, so I think there's an awful lot down to that where they could hide information for sure before going out for a race, but after the race, it could not be hidden. The data is there. You can trench through the data. Now, I got a little bit of, I won't say a little bit of jib about Marquez. I was only making a point on when he went out there, he was faster on the Honda. Right? That's the time clock doesn't lie. Okay.
Right.
And he was on the Saturday in qualifying. When he had a go, he was faster.
Yeah, all balls with soft tires. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
so apples and oranges.
he did do an all balls run.
Yeah.
In the afternoon, late afternoon, on I think like an hour and 15 minutes or so before the end of the session. And people are coming back and saying, "Oh, the track was not in great condition. It was much colder, and this, that, and the other." And so my point to this was like I would disagree on it. Right? Firstly, qualifying was Saturday morning, so they had 2 hours or 6 hours in total or whatever with Moto 2 and Moto 3 hours running on that circuit before they went out there. So that track was on Saturday morning was still quite green.
Okay.
So then they had the sprint race, they had all the races, MotoGP race, Moto 2 testing, and then MotoGP testing. So that track, in my view, was well rubbered in.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So it had a lot more grip than it would have had on the Saturday. Would it have been a bit cooler? Yes, but the grip would have been still there because the rubber was still there. And I always remember Marigali saying, that in Misano is a prime example when they tested the Monday after the race. He's like, you don't really like doing these tests because everything goes perfect in these tests because there's grip on the circuit.
Yeah.
Where we struggle is when there's low grip on the circuit.
Right.
So for me, when they're doing that test,
you don't want. You know
exactly.
What I mean?
So when they're doing these tests, the track was actually in pretty good condition. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
While it may have been a bit cooler, there was a lot more rubber on the circuit there to do it.
In that case, they started out so hot on the first race to cool it down. Probably put it in a better heat range for the tire.
Yeah, and then majority of riders, to be fair, did towards the end of the day did a hot lap sequence. So we did a hot lap run. It wasn't oh, they saw this person's time and they wanted to beat it. They were like,
Yeah.
I want to fucking finish fastest. Do you know what I mean? I'm gonna give it a go. And now Mav was fast. Bezzecchi was fast as well, but Bezzecchi was like 2.2 tenths of a second up in the first sprint, or his first sector on his hot lap. And he lost a lot of time. Do you know what I mean? In that to finish third or whatever it was. So, you know, for me, when I look at Mark, I think he did a good session. I was surprised that he only did 49 laps. I was very, very surprised that he only did.
That could have been an arm pump he was going for the next day too.
Yeah, it could have been, but it's just, again, it was just, you know,
even if you're out, thing lay off it. They don't, because you beat the hell out of your forearms. You know that track day.
Yeah, exactly. But look, I just thought even on the likes of that, even with the arm pump, right? Okay, if he's riding 2 or 3 seconds off it, he's getting more data, you know, not pushing it as hard, and
Right.
Unless the arm pump was fucking unbearable, do you know what I mean? But I would have thought he would have been up into 60, 70 laps. That's kind of where I was expecting him to be, so that he could just take that data and go home. I still think it's quite weird that Honda wouldn't release him like if you look at, like, he was bought out of his contract, right for the final year, and when you're buying out of your contract, you would kind of give it a final day or date. Do you know what I mean? That he could go and he could test freely and he could do this and he could do that and do the other, but he's not out of contract till 31 of December.
Okay.
Which I still find very, very, very weird if you have a.
But isn't December, like I've heard it before? I don't know if it was the 15th or the 31st. Isn't that the normal deadline for the contracts?
Normal contracts finish on the eve of the whatchamacallit, or the Monday after the. Sorry, they finish on either the Sunday midnight or Monday morning of the day after Valencia.
After the last race, after, like, say, Valencia, and then you got another month.
No, you can not. Normally they do it. You normally finish clean that, and then you can run sponsorships and whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like now, maybe some of the big riders, they try and keep them into the end of the year. Like, I know Top Rack was done till like the 8th or something of December, and he couldn't ride the BMW before that. But he did ride it in Portimao last week, or maybe it was the 6th or something. I can't remember. But I just find it very weird that his contract, even though that he was buying himself out,
right,
he was still held to the 31st. Do you know what I mean? No, but look, I'm sure he's not one bit worried about it, kicking his legs up in Bali at the moment, or wherever the fuck he is. But yeah. The other thing this week, I found very weird, was Martin's comments about trying to humiliate his rivals and getting over cocky and overzealous. Did you hear that one?
Yeah, I heard it. I read it. It's good food for thought if he learns from this. You know, if he learns from it. Yeah. But the nature of the beast for those guys is to just go. You know what I mean? Like a dog chasing a cat.
It is, yeah. I just thought it was just like,
I don't know about the war bit. You know what I mean? We're at war. That's kind of strange to me.
Well, no, that's not. Like to be very honest, right? Like, anytime that I was battling for a championship, I fucking hated the guy. Like, I absolutely, and I would tell myself stories that I fucking hate this guy so much, even though he's done nothing wrong to me ever. Do you know what I mean? He's just trying to deny me from something I want. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, I fucking hate you for it. Do you know what I mean? And therefore,
I knocked out 26 guys in a row, right? And I was never mad. I was like, "Oh, how you doing?" I got once the guy got cocky, and he told me, "Yo, I'm going to beat you," and he was a bodybuilder. His waist was this big, and his shoulders were actually bigger than mine. He was 267, and I just crushed him. Him in the body.
But
Bang! I could feel his spinal.
it's
It was
yeah, but it's kind of different from that. Like I would never have wished any harm on him, but I just hated him for trying to take what I felt was mine. Do you know what I mean? And like anytime someone would fucking praise that person, do you know what I mean? Like, you prick. Do you know what I mean? And it was just a natural thing of like, you're in competition with this person. You don't want to give them praise. You don't want to build their ego. You don't want anything to go along to them to make sure that they're maybe having a psychological advantage going into that race over you. Do you know what I mean? Or and you saw it with Martin. Like, he did get cocky. He did get very cocky in his abilities, and he was right to get cocky. But he forgot the core then part of getting the job fucking done. Do you know what I mean? And like, for example, yes, it is great to be leading a race by 3 seconds, but you got to fucking finish it.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's prime principle number one of racing is to finish first. First, you must finish, right? And I think
he learned that real quick. Boy, I hadn't seen when Martin went down and he looked at the bike and went, what happened? You could say he had no clue what was going on.
No clue what happened.
He was picking hay in his ass. It was just
and like, don't get me wrong. I think I still couldn't choose between who I'd be happier winning the championship, Martin or Bagnaia. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I think they both deserved it for their performances, but I don't like a rider that believes or comes out with arrogance to say, "Oh, I'm fucking better than you," right? Because everyone knows in the world of MotoGP, anything can fucking happen. Yeah. Anything at all. Martin might be fucking excellent this year. New bike mightn't suit him. Just might not suit him. No. Yeah. And it's not just your skill set that will carry it over. And everyone has learned this in the past few years with Marquez. Mark can do anything. No, he fucking can't. Will he be fast? He'll be fast. Will he be alien speed? No. Is he still an alien? Yes. But the bike or the equipment that he had wasn't allowing him to be that level. So, and I always think that like the vicious circle of MotoGP is always very much so like that, just when you think you're flying, it comes and kicks you in the fucking ass. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, ugh. So, but anyway, like, I think it was quite funny that his comments was that I wanted to humiliate my rivals, and I think he's learned big time that just focus on your own self, focus on your racing, what's going on with you, control your controllables. Yeah. Can't control what Pecco does. You can't control
those guys want you to win too. If you go into them pits and you start blaming everybody for the loss or something, that they're your bread and butter. Those crew chiefs and the crew, right?
Yeah, that's the other side of it.
Yeah, they're working 24/7, right? Don't shit we eat. Don't give them hell.
Yeah, exactly. Now look. Like, I think being very honest, I think a lot of his temperament he's learned from Aleix Espargaro. Very, very same and similar thing. Something goes wrong.
They live together.
And they're best of buddies, But like, the temperament of Aleix Espargaro is like, make a fucking mountain out of a molehill. Do you know what I mean? Something fucking small happens. Blade of grass fucking moves the wrong direction. He's do you know what I mean? Whereas I don't think Jorge is to that extreme, but again, I think monkey see kind of monkey do, and he sees it happening. He sees it happening with Aleix, and it kind of rubs off. So maybe not to the Aleix extent, but I think that he knows that he gives his team like now. Don't get me wrong. We've seen Pecco firing his fucking gloves across the ring. Gavi, so we've seen there's a difference between having a fucking whinge and making it very personal within your team. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And there's videos of Aleix Espargaro walking up to straight up to a mechanic and thumping the bike in front of him and pointing out you fucking idiot. Do you know what I mean? So
In the meantime, the mechanic knows. I forgot more than you know about this bike. You know.
Yeah, but if it was fucking me, I'd be fucking. There'd be a fucking right hand over the top and straight into in between this fucking helmet eyes. Do you know what I mean? I'd be like, no, I wouldn't be fucking taking it. You know. So yeah, look, I just think there is an awful lot of weirdness going on now. Also, Jakey Poo, when are you going to be buying your Trackhouse Racing T-shirt?
No, I'm not much of a patriot, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah, but no, fuck it. You can't support any other team. No, you're a Yankee doodle.
Oh no, fuck that!
You have no. You have
I don't even
to
want to
support
pay
your
my
own.
taxes for God's sake.
Yeah,
You know?
you have to support your own now. Do you know what I mean? Raul
Yeah.
Fernandez, your number one rider. Do you know?
Yeah, Bidenomics, where he can go kiss my Dutch ass.
Yeah, but no, I thought it was good, but look, I think there's definitely something shady went on there with Dorna. Like that was just fucking.
Yeah, did you read that? The thing was paid. They were going to stay on. It was paid, and they took him away anyway. They stripped it from him.
So I personally heard about this. I would say maybe about 5 weeks ago, maybe 6 weeks ago, there was rumblings about Crypto Data did not pay the 700,000 euros for the Austrian Grand Prix that they were the title sponsor. They owed Dorna that money. And there was a statement saying that we didn't actually owe, or that they didn't owe them that money, that money was not due till the end of 2023.
Right.
So I think there was an argument happened, and I think someone pissed someone off in Dorna, and they were like, well, we can actually have an out clause here now because you haven't paid your bill. Do you know what I mean? And that's where the argument started. And now, that's not the whole extent of the argument either. I also believe that Razlan ran out of money and brought Crypto Data in further. I think they took 60% of the stake in RNF Aprilia, or RNF Racing, I should say. So there was some, what I would class it as some financial irregularities where bills weren't paid. And what definitely comes about to this is that I thought it was very weird that on the Sunday night or the Monday morning after the last race, RNF were dumped out. Now, and if you remember, RNF were dumped out, and within 7 days, they had a fucking another team in, funded, bought it, and I'm like, that's way too quick. That's way too quick. Like, you know.
Christ almighty, they had the truck running before they signed the contract. It was on the way over.
Exactly. And what I thought was quite funny was more so actually than anything else is that in the statement that Dorna gave was that the new team that will run Aprilia motorbikes. So they were on. So it looked like, to me, what it looked like was that with the funding and the issues that happened with Razlan, I think Aprilia, Dorna, etc. were owed money from RNF. They propped them up while this Crypto Data thing was being done. I think then something happened that those debts weren't cleared.
Right.
Personally, as well, is what I think. I have no facts on this, but this is what I personally believe is going on. And the gun was put to the head to say, you're either going to pay or we're going to fuck you out. And they said, no, we're not going to pay right now, whatever. And then Dorna said, well, we're within our legal right to do this. Now, my also understanding is that, let's just say 4 p.m. 4 p.m. one of the days last week, it was announced that Trackhouse Racing was done. But 3 p.m.
What's their product?
They're in NASCAR. They're in NASCAR.
What's produced in NASCAR?
I fucking don't know. But listen, all I know is that they're going to run.
Sponsored by another race team who does what? Doesn't everything else? There's no such
They're not sponsored. No. They're not sponsored. They're taking over the running of the team.
Right. But somebody has to pay the bills. Where's the tide? And you know what I mean?
But what I thought was very funny was, let's just say it was 4 p.m. Irish time that the press announcement was being done, or the team presentation was being done. But with no coverage, 3 p.m. Crypto Data released a statement saying that they had come together with Dorna and that they'd reached a settlement, and they were not going to disclose the settlement, but both sides are very happy with the financial terms that were agreed. So I don't know, but
I'll have to look that up. I want to see who makes that shit. But
yeah, I wouldn't.
what I want is my Grassini, my Mark Marquez Grassini T-shirt.
Oh,
Now, I've not even seen him printed out anywhere. Now they try to do a cop-out deal where they'll have red, a T-shirt is red with Marquez on it, 93.
Yeah.
And by the way, like I said, Dorna wants Honda to win, right? They're very Honda biased. What are they going to do when they have Mark Marquez 93 in the stands? You know what I mean? It's like a politician that jumped on the wrong side of the tracks.
I think they don't give a shit as long as Marquez is in there, because he's going to put bums on the seats in Europe. That's quite.
Yeah.
And if Marquez is winning in Europe, they'll pack the grandstands. Do you know what I mean? And
I can't see him if he does decent or whatever, which he should in case. I can't see him jumping back to Honda though. I think that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, he did something very weird at the Honda tank stage. You know what I mean? He was walking around the place saying like, "I hope this is not my last Honda tank stage."
Yeah, I know, but
you never know in the future. You're just like,
I can see that. That's a PC deal. Somebody told him to say that.
Yeah, fuck it. Like
that's a make everybody feel good moment.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. I just thought it was very, very weird.
Because if you're going to go there, what are you going to say? Hi, how you doing? Don't want to be here, but I was in contract. You'll kiss off, you bastard, and screw me.
What are they going to do? Fine him?
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's like it's too late. Like it's like being the fucking main band on the show in a no smoking room and lighting up a cigarette. Like, what are they going to do? Fuck them out? They're not.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? So, like. Yeah, it was just very weird the whole way he was approaching it. You know what I mean? And I was just like, a little bit weird. But then look,
I was like, when I was young, I was married, and my wife, their whole family's in the running. So I go run. I ran a marathon, right? As soon as they passed the finish line, I lit up a cigarette, and the wife goes, "You can't do that."
Yeah.
It's a cancer run.
It's a cancer run. I actually tell you, years ago, a place where I was working, it always makes me laugh. Like, it's terrible, but a place where I was working, we didn't have a smoking area, and there was a building across the road that had a shelter. So, like, Ireland's always 9 times out of 10 is going to be raining or cold. So you go into the shelter and you can smoke away inside the shelter.
You smoke?
But I used to years ago, yeah. And long story short, anyway, you would see maybe 2 or 3 emails a day, all right? And it'd be like, can people please refrain or smoke inside the shelter and not smoke outside the shelter over at building 15, right? And it was just like, yeah. And it took someone to actually put the end of the email that, so where people were smoking, they would overflow out of the shelter and up along a wall, right?
Right.
But that wall there was a door on in that, and there was an entrance into it, the building there, and people were smoking just by the door. But it was the National Cancer Registry office.
Yeah.
And it was just like douchebags, you know what I mean? So people there were like, the email would come out then and be like, will you please stop smoking in front of the National Cancer Registry office, please? So it's like awkward. But yeah. Anyway, look, I think there's loads going to happen.
Concessions, by the way, by the record, that went way too. They got way too much stuff. They gave away the freaking house.
Oh, they gave away the house. Look, they had like Yamaha was never going to catch up on its engine.
Well, now they will. Christ, they're going to catch up.
Actually, like
not Honda.
Honda should. The concession is only for 1 year, right? And it dips down, I believe, in year 2, right? But I think there's a massive amount of pressure coming on Yamaha and Honda now. They have to get this year right. They have no choice.
Yamaha is much better. They're stronger engineers. Okay, but the problem is they really stuck themselves with an inline four. That's a big jump. You know what I mean?
Well, no, not even that. No, and Jake,
Honda just have to get their shit straight. But they're the worst engineers. They got the worst engineers in MotoGP, though. You know, but
yeah, but I see more progress from Honda than Yamaha.
And they have unlimited testing, unlimited engines. They should
No, they don't. You're wrong.
Engine development, excuse me, unlimited engine development.
They can. Their engines are unfrozen, so they can design a new engine. So they can run, what is it, 14 weekends or 15 weekends or whatever it is next year.
Yeah.
They can run 10 different types of engines next year, maximum.
Yeah.
Right? That's not unlimited. Do you know what I mean? The minute you use it, it's sealed. You can't change it. They have, 90 more tires than Ducati?
Yeah.
Is it 90? 160, 90, yeah, 90 tires more. Look.
Hey, but by the way, when we hear them say, well, they gave it to Ducati. One, they didn't give it to Ducati when they started up, right? They didn't give them shit when they got 9 podiums. But in 2014, I think they had concessions for all of two races. I think it was 2 races, and then they won in race, and it was all over.
Look, I again, for me, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter when someone gets a concession or whatever, right? If you're coming in and you have a blank slate, I think you're definitely entitled to some concessions because there's a massive learning curve into.
When you start off, yeah, you're damn straight. But not when you have 50, 60 years of you've been
exactly, and that's why
the budget is sometimes bigger than everybody else's. What the fuck?
But look, okay, having the budget that's 3 times bigger than anyone else means fucking nothing. If you don't have the time to test, it means absolutely
you're right.
nothing.
But when the competition is 2, which they're going to have now,
Yeah, but and I suppose where you have it, take Yamaha for example, right? It's a really, really good way of taking it, right? Ducati are already now working on their they'll be finishing off their 2024 engine, right? But
they don't
come February next year, they will work solidly on the 2025 engine.
But they don't have enough time as it is, and then they cut them back again.
But that's what I mean. So Ducati are now Ducati are already going to make progress on their engine for 2025 with, let's just say, 10 months development for that, right? Where Yamaha, they're probably 2 years behind in engine development. Do you know what I mean?
No,
so they're never going to make it up.
I truly was going over my nephew with this. It's not that they're behind. I think they said inline 4 is a dead end. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe, but even with the dead end of the inline 4, right? They got more power out of the inline 4 this year, right? Because they weren't as slow down to the traps. Now they were running light aero, right? But they were faster. But they were using the aero from the previous year, so you could say it's a good benchmark to say, were you faster this year or last year down that straight? Okay. But what happened then is that they couldn't make the fucking thing turn. So Yamaha's strong point. That's where I'm like, okay, and like I mentioned this last week, they came out at a test using an Aprilia type front wing, which is 2 years old, and a KTM type rear wing, which is a year old. Do you know what I mean? With zero fucking understanding of what's going on. And that's for me, I was more shocked. Like I encourage Yamaha and I give them Honda. Sorry, I give them kudos the fact that they have copied every single one's designs out there, right?
Yeah.
Try to understand what they do, and then try to make a little bit of an educated guess of, shall we go this?
Yes, that's why I say performance finds its own level. You don't need concessions. They're going to find out eventually. They're going to see what's going on in the next.
No, I don't think Honda and Yamaha are going to catch up anytime soon if they didn't do something. I don't agree with the concessions. I especially don't agree with the free engine development. I do agree if they wanted to close the gap. I do agree with, give them a couple of extra tires a year. Let them knock themselves out. Do you know what I mean? What are they going to fight?
That's what I said.
But
But that's on the same page. The engine development is the point where that's just over. It's just giving away the ranch. You might as well
it
hand it.
is, yeah. But look, like
Yeah.
to be fair, I would have no problem. I wouldn't necessarily have a problem if Yamaha turned around and said to Dorna, "We are going to switch from an inline four to a V4. Can we
Right.
get a concession on that?" Right?
Yeah.
We have zero data,
Right.
none, no data on a V4. Can we get a concession?
That's fine.
Right.
That's
That would be in my that would be. I wouldn't like it, but I'd be like, okay, there is a like Honda don't need free engines. They don't.
no.
They're a small bit behind in acceleration, but that is they're still keeping up with.
And you don't know if they're lacking a little of acceleration to get their chassis straight first. If you get my drift
It
on
could
that.
be. It
You know?
could be. Yeah. And it's
That would be a
just
smart way to move. That would be a smart move. But the I don't know. It's just way too much. Where's like I said, they do this. Dorna does this shit for Honda that they wouldn't do anywhere else for anybody else, right? That's what Colorado said before. And what happened? Why didn't they give this deal to Kawasaki or BMW?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, no, Kawasaki or BMW coming in, they would actually get it. Technically, they would get They would get the full thing. And like I saw videos going out about concessions are back. Concessions were never gone. It was just no one was able to fucking use them. Do you know what I mean? And no one was entitled to use them. Our old buddies are back at it again. I saw our weekly fucking boys. There was Phil out there.
No, Sport of 44 and
Bike GP, fucking
Bike
Bike GP, 146,000 views, needing fucking 600 subscribers. That's just fucking.
Boy, they're just working hard. They must watch. How many times they watching that video? Yeah.
How many tabs you have opened? Yeah. No, I think look, I don't tend to waste the time. I know a lot of there's a lot of chat about them on Twitter and all of this during this week. And it is sad because there's a lot of misinformation going out there. Yeah. And
they're still talking about Rossi switching over. When are they going to end that?
Never.
Yeah, and then the gossip goes into he's coming back to Honda. No, he's not. I mean, like I say never, but it's very unlikely.
I think he might do a victory lap, at some stage. But I think it'll already be over. Like realistically, the only way I can see Marquez going to back to Honda is that if he does a year or two, it's just like he does a year in Ducati and it doesn't end up the way he'd hoped. Mm-hmm. Then he moved maybe to KTM or something like that, and that didn't end up the way he hoped. I would see him maybe going back to Honda for one last one. So, because look, remember this, right? Mark's up to mid last year, maybe towards the end of last year, all Mark's career was all about racing. Now he has the girlfriend and the fiance and whatever, right? Yes. His mind is going to be other places. Do you know what I mean? And it's going to start.
From the get-go, I said, I wonder if he likes a family team where he doesn't have to test all the parts on a factory thing.
No. But I think I don't think it's that. I think I just think, how would you say, the distraction is going to now be there. Do you know what I mean? That Mark.
His only problem is he's going to look over and go, I wonder if they have a part would help me out over there. You know what I mean? The grass is always greener syndrome.
Yeah. But also, whereas at night he would stay up and fucking be studying this line, that line, the other line. Your one now is lying naked in fucking bed and it's like, put down the fucking phone and come over here. That shit is going to start happening. Do you know what I mean? And then, realistically, he's going to get married, isn't it? Well, Binder actually got married this week. Married, babies, the whole fucking lot. Distractions are going to come, and that'll be the fucking end of them.
Oh yeah, when you start having them kids, Jesus Christ, they never sleep. Blah blah blah.
I know, yeah. My poor neighbor.
The aches and fevers and all that fun stuff.
Oh, that's yeah. Anyway, I think we'll wrap it up there for this week. Thank you very much, Jakey Poo, for
Always here. Like rain or sleet, snow, Jake's here.
That's it. Yeah, we've one more now before Christmas. Ooh, Santa.
Not even good enough to get coal. I'll get a lump of dirt.
A lump of dirt. Yeah. Anyway, radio. Sure, look, we will wrap it up there, and we'll see everyone next week.
Yeah, go buy a bike, folks. Give yourself something for Christmas.
Yeah, go play for Christmas.
Yeah,
but just make sure.
Everybody talking about the Euro bikes. Go take a spin on the Euro bikes. See how much they've improved.
Yeah, and just make sure you buy a good helmet and jacket.
Yeah. Oh, Next is the good helmet, by the way. If you love helmets, yes.
Anyway,
they're like Arai, but half the price. Made in Portugal.
Arai.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out, guys. Talk to everyone soon.